The sport is sponsored by eBay. Last night, the Chargers drubbed Carson Wentz in the Minnesota Vikings 37-10. Some of the big games going on Sunday. The Jets refused to name a starting quarterback. Aaron Glenn said they are keeping that in-house. They will be in Cincinnati on Sunday. And you hear the Laker game tonight live from Crypto. That game will be at 7 o'clock. Minnesota is currently a 1.5-point road favorite over Luka and the Lakers. Again, you hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. eBay is home to millions of finds, and each one becomes part of your story. From your favorite vintage band tee to the dream car you've been searching for, or the foul ball you heroically gave away. It's all there on eBay. eBay, things people love.
That might be fun.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
They're really random and off the wall.
Show us what you got.
Some sanity returns to the NFL.
Herbert rolling to the right, looking to the right, stops, has to reverse course, throws to the end zone, caught, touchdown! Chargers! Trey Harris!
Big win for the Chargers to kick off the weekend. And a look at Sunday's action. Plus, the Fall Classic gets started up in Toronto. The Aztecs are up in Fresno for another Mountain West matchup. SDFC steps into the playoffs versus Portland.
En Jeffrey con Amal Pellegrino. Pellegrino! Gol! Valencia Football Club! Amal Pellegrino! Yes! Crack open a bottle of Pellegrino, papa!
And sorry, no NBA betting jokes here. At least not yet. We wade through a packed weekend from the studios of San Diego Sports 760 in the Fletch Zone.
Oh, don't you worry, CJ. Plenty of NBA betting jokes will be happening on today's show. What's going on, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. We got a packed Friday show. We will get right into it. We do have a 4-pack of tickets for you to go to Hallow Scream at SeaWorld San Diego. So get ready for those. Could be any minute now. You never know. Steve Hartman is going to be joining for his usual Friday appointment. Steve will be here at 1:30. We got plenty of NFL to talk about. We got plenty of NBA to talk about, in which I think the thing that's being overshadowed by this whole gambling scandal and the Chauncey Billups and the Terry Rozier of it all is that the games have actually been pretty great so far this year. There was another excellent one last night where Steph Curry did Steph Curry things. So we'll get into it all today. We are going to start in the NFL, where last night's game ended up being kind of a clunker because the Chargers beat the dog crap out of the Vikings. And you look at the Vikings this year, and their only 3 wins on the season are against extremely subpar quarterbacks: Jake Browning, Dylan Gabriel, and Caleb Williams. They've also played the easiest schedule in the NFL so far this year. Last night, they step up in competition. They dropped down to 3-4 on the year. Chargers at 5-3. I don't know who you take more away from this game from. What I will say, the Vikings with Carson Wentz, booty cheeks. The Los Angeles Chargers are a good team, and they look like they're starting to figure some stuff out. I think Vidal out of the backfield is a very, very nice running back. The new tight end that they kind of found, Gadsden with the cool eyes, he's awesome. And
With the cool eyes?
Have you seen his eyes? They're dreamy. They're like a very, very light blue.
I didn't know we were starting off the show like that, but that's cool.
I'm just trying to make things relatable for people, Sammy. But I think they found something with him. He had 77 yards last night. So I don't know if you can say after last night the Chargers are all of a sudden a good football team again. I think you can absolutely say the Vikings are a bad football team now. Hi, Sammy. How are you?
I'm good. I can't see. I left my glasses at home because I spilled coffee all over myself this morning.
I thought you were just wearing glasses.
Well, I'm wearing sunglasses, but here's my dilemma today is anyone that pops on the stream after 12 o'clock is going to be like, this guy is a complete something.
Oh, who cares? You can look like a douchebag. It's more important that you can see.
So, yeah. All right. I'm going to look like a douchebag all show.
I wear my sunglasses at night. So I can
see. This is actually much better. So I'll probably get called a douche all show, but that's fine. In terms of the game last night, 37-10. Yeah, the Chargers, it's hard to take away because they did get
the 7 for the Vikings were nothing. It was the tipped interception from Herbert, and then Addison's open for a touchdown.
I mean, you're looking at that game in, yes, Justin Herbert, the last few weeks, they're 1-3. They're not healthy. So you saw that with Joe Alt being back in the lineup. They dealt with some injuries with Derwin James. Thankfully, nothing sounds serious there. I mean, you're looking at the Chargers offensively. If they have their offensive line, we know that Justin Herbert can be an elite quarterback. It's hard for me to get too crazy about him because that Vikings team, what they did last night was Carson Wentz. We need to be done with that. We've done with that experiment.
I think that's my 3rd worst starting quarterback performance of the year.
It was awful. I mean, he looked like he was scared. Remember the Justin Jefferson over the middle in the third quarter?
I think I got Justin Fields overseas, that game against the Broncos. I think that was the worst performance of the year. Maybe Jake Browning's first start after Joe Burrow got hurt, because he actually played pretty nice in the game where Burrow got hurt. But the first start after that, Jake Browning was awful. And then number 3 is going to be Carson Wentz last night.
It was bad. I mean, if I'm Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, I'm sitting there going, why is Sam Darnold not back? And I get that that's the question today. And they got Sam Darnold last year, but before they signed JJ or drafted JJ McCarthy, and no one knew how good Sam Darnold would be. So it's a little bit revisionist history. No one knew how good that Sam Darnold would be last season, and that it would make the JJ McCarthy pick look a little bit worse. But if I'm Addison and Justin Jefferson, I'm going, Sam Darnold put up big numbers with me. And I know that the last 2 games of the season did not go the way that Vikings fans wanted them to go, but I mean, Carson Wentz can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. JJ McCarthy is not accurate through the first couple games we've seen him. And the fact when he comes back from injury, he's going to take even more time to get back in the offense, considering he missed all of last season. I wouldn't be surprised if we start hearing some I want out of Minnesota from the receivers here soon.
Yeah, it would make sense. The formula is there for it. Absolutely. And I think the Sam Darnold thing is so fascinating because he's playing well again with the Seahawks. So the Vikings had an important decision to make. And I think Sam Darnold kind of struggling those last 2 games of the regular season, like we saw it into the postseason. I think that helped inform the Vikings of their decision to move on from him. And now they got to be looking in the rearview mirror and saying, oh, we probably should have held on to Sam Darnold and just paid him. Because this is the type of move that will get a general manager fired, that can get a head coach fired, is moving on from a quarterback who's good enough to get you into the postseason and maybe beyond, and switching over to guys who seem incapable.
Are you higher on the Chargers today, or do you think they just beat up on a bad team?
I'm about even on the Chargers today. I feel the same way I felt when I was going into that game. Now, it's nice to see them put up 37 points if you're a Chargers fan. I think that they need to continue to get healthier. It's still not right without Hampton in the backfield, without some of their defensive pieces, but you can see the path forward for the Chargers. Now they play in a really, really tough AFC West where it's going to be tricky. We may end up seeing multiple playoff teams out of the AFC West. But I feel the same way about the Chargers still, where it's a good enough team to make the postseason. I don't know what they do once they get there.
It's tricky because you do feel like with Herbert, they have a little bit higher ceiling than some other teams, because you do have a quarterback that, now the playoff record is he's 0-1, but you watch Justin Herbert play, you do feel like he's taking his game to another level, and Jim Harbaugh has helped unlock that a little bit. But I've been on this. I really feel like if you're the Chargers, you need another receiver, because I don't think a trio of McConkey, although a good receiver, I don't think he's a number 1. Quentin Johnson and Keenan Allen, I don't think you're going into Buffalo, going into Kansas City, hell, maybe even Pittsburgh, and winning a game. I think you need a number 1 receiver. If I'm the Chargers, I'm calling the Saints about Chris Olave.
Yeah, but have you seen Gadsden's eyes, the tight end, Sammy? They're dreamy.
The text line has some thoughts for you about talking about his eyes.
They're so dreamy. All right, we're going to get to the big 3 here. Coming up on the show today, we will preview some San Diego State, Fresno State. We're going to preview SDFC's inaugural playoff game, which is coming up on Sunday at 6:30, a game you'll hear right here on San Diego Sports 760. Right now, it's time for the big 3, where Sammy Long rips through the top 3 stories in the world of sports. Sammy, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The big 3.
What is the text line saying about me? I haven't even opened it up yet.
I'm going to pull Paris on YouTube thinks that because I'm wearing sunglasses, I participated in Bar Cart Friday along with all you in the morning. And then the text line 619 says, have you ever looked into his eyes? It was like the first time I heard the Beatles.
Isn't that from Step Brothers?
Step Brothers. Is that from Step Brothers?
It's definitely a line from a movie. 619, what movie did you pull that from? Love to hear it. But Gadsden does have incredible eyes. All right, Sammy, where are we going with the big 3?
I'd love to know the thought process of how you saw his eyes. Like, were you watching the game?
They're going viral today, dude. He's got these dreamy light blue eyes. It's not just me.
That's quite something. Okay, so let's go to the Sunday night football matchup on Sunday night. This one's going to be very fun. You got the Packers heading into Pittsburgh to take on Rodgers and the Steelers. Rodgers playing his old team. Who do you trust more on Sunday, Love or Rodgers?
That is a fun question. The answer for me is going to be Aaron Rodgers, although I think the Packers are a more talented football team. I do trust Aaron Rodgers more in that situation. I feel like this is an absolute Steelers win in this situation. The Packers have shown, although a very talented team and a talented defense, they're not always up to the big hype games. What was one of the most hyped games so far of the NFL season? Week 1, Packers, Lions. And what did the Packers do? Nothing. Or wait, no, that's
they won that game.
Excuse me. Yeah, you're right. But I do think
the Dallas game was hyped and they did not show up for it.
Exactly right. They ended up tying that game. So I look at the Packers. I don't know if they're quite ready for this. Aaron Rodgers has been in this situation a bunch. We know he plays better when he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I think Aaron Rodgers wins this one.
I'm going with Rodgers as well. I think Rodgers, he had something to prove after that pretty bad performance last week against the Cincinnati Bengals. That was a tricky game, divisional game. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins seemed to be jacked up considering they had a quarterback who could actually get them the ball. I actually put that game a little bit more on the Pittsburgh defense for not being able to shut down the slant route from Jamar Chase. Jordan Love is tricky for me. It feels like this guy got paid a little bit too soon. If we look at Jordan Love, this guy got paid off one game when they destroyed the Cowboys in the playoffs a few years ago and put up 49 points. And to Jordan Love's credit, he hung in there with the Niners in the divisional game, but the Niners came back and won that one. It feels like Jordan Love kind of got paid like a big-time quarterback. I don't think Jordan Love is bad, but I don't think Jordan Love is an elite passer. I wouldn't put him in the top 10 of quarterbacks right now. And I think the more Rodgers gets accustomed to this offense a little bit, DK Metcalf, being new there, you need a number 2 receiver. If I'm a Steeler fan, I'm like, why is George Pickens not there? He would have been the perfect answer to this problem. But I'm going with Rodgers on Sunday. I think they get it done. I don't trust this Packer team. I feel like this Packers team is pretty flawed. And a lot of it's on Jordan Love. A lot of it is on the fact they do not have a number 1 receiver. They have a collection of a lot of number 2 and number 3 receivers they try to kind of put up in the aggregate. All right, so let's head to still sticking with the NFL. Cowboys-Broncos, really fun game on Sunday. That game is in Denver. Who has more to prove Sunday, Dallas or Denver?
Denver still needs to show me that they're a legit football team this year. I don't think I've seen it yet. There's been nothing that just jumped off the screen as of right now for Denver. You have to come back in dramatic fashion to beat the Giants. It was a great comeback, but I'm going to put that more on Brian Dable and the coaching of the Giants in that game and some of the decision-making down the stretches than I am to Bo Nix and Sean Payton, although it was an impressive comeback. We still haven't seen it yet. A lot of people crown the Denver Broncos this past offseason as a dark horse Super Bowl pick. Would anyone be saying that right now? The answer is absolutely not. Dallas has overstepped all the boundaries. It kind of feels like Dallas might already be playing with a little bit of house money on this season. Now, they have a lot to prove to Jerry. That, hey, you need to invest in this defense come trade deadline time. But I need to see it out of the Broncos still. Totally not sold on them yet.
I'm piggybacking again. I'm going with Denver. Dallas, though, we know who they are. They are a team that can beat anybody and lose anybody.
They're the Bengals from last year.
100%. The offense is electric, and they're only going to be better now that CeeDee Lamb is fully back in the offense. Javonte Williams, the former Denver Bronco, has had a nice little season there for Denver for Dallas, and the offensive line has been much better. The defense is bad. The defense is not going to get much help. They have a pretty good linebacker coming back with Overshown, but Dallas has to prove if they're good. If they go get this win in Denver, then you start seriously looking at, wow, maybe they do go get a defensive help. Maybe you do go get a pass rusher, because if the offense is this good to go into Denver and beat one of the top defenses in the league, I think you got to start looking at it a little bit differently. Now, I wouldn't give up all those picks you got from Micah Parsons. On the other side, Denver feels set. Like, the defense is elite. They're one of the best defenses in the NFL. I think Cortland Sutton's an extremely underrated receiver. Can Bo Nix be the guy? Because what I've seen through the first month and a half of the season, 2 months, Bo Nix has moments where he looks really good, aka the fourth quarter against the Giants. But can we really trust him in that? Like, he was awful through the first 3 quarters of that game, and the Giants playing prevent defense really allowed him to get back into this. If Bo Nix and then don't score 40, that's a big problem.
Now, I do want to push back a little bit on the fact that Denver's defense is elite. We all think that, right? And the numbers have shown that so far this year. But let's look at some of the teams that they're holding under wraps. The New York Jets scored 11 points against them. New York Jets can't score on anybody. The Eagles scored 17 points on them. As the Eagles' offense until last week really looked that inspired. How about the Bengals without Joe Burrow? 3 points on them. They played the Chargers earlier this year. Chargers put up 23. They played the Giants last week. The Giants put up 32. And by the way, the Giants marched down the field to take the lead in the last 2 minutes. So this defense that everyone's ready to crown, I'm not sure I am. They got a couple of really nice pieces on that Denver defense, but it's not like they've been great.
It's a good point. They have benefited from some of the lack of offense. I mean, Justin Fields, you pointed out at the beginning of the show, that was one of the worst offensive quarterback performances I've ever seen. I do think Nick Bonito is kind of becoming a household name.
He's a superstar.
Pat Surtain at the corner spot. But Bo Nix has to be the guy. Bo Nix, Steve Hartman is coming on at 1:30. This is his team. He's talked about how they're going to win the division.
Sammy,
they're going to the Super Bowl.
This is the year your Chiefs die.
I think I would not put Bo Nix as a top 5 quarterback in the AFC right now, and he has to be if he wants to be there. All right, third story. We're going to go to the NBA real quick. Who has had a more impressive start? The Thunder, who got another overtime win last night over the Indiana Pacers in the finals rematch, or the Golden State Warriors, who had an electric comeback against the Denver Nuggets last night and beating the Lakers on night one?
I mean, it has to be the Warriors, right? Did anyone see this happening? Steph Curry last night, but Aaron Gordon's best game of his career. There's no doubt. He was fantastic. He had 50 points last night. And for Steph Curry to kind of lead the charge in the fourth quarter, that shot he made with like 35 seconds left on the clock way back, it was that kind of classic Draymond sets the pick and Steph bounces back and knocks it down. I did not see this coming from Steph Curry, who's been amazing his entire career, but he's 35 now. Like, that dude has more tread on his tires, more ankle injuries than just about anybody who's ever walked the earth. And Steph Curry is still playing like this. I don't know how he keeps it up all season long, but if the Warriors are healthy, they've shown you through the first couple of performances, this is absolutely a problem team in the postseason.
It is amazing when you give Steph Curry a legit number 2 player.
Seriously.
And they were winning titles when Kevin Durant was there, and everyone wanted to say it was, too overpowered and all this stuff. Well, Jimmy Butler finally gives them a scoring threat on the wing. It's amazing what Steph's been able to do the last few years without Klay Thompson, and the last few years of Klay Thompson with the Warriors when he was kind of on a downturn. The Warriors look very impressive. Their biggest thing is, can they stay healthy? On the Thunder side, I got to give him credit.
Kuminga looks good too.
If Kuminga plays like he did night one against the Lakers, that team is going to be hell to get out in the postseason.
Last night, dude puts up 15 points. I think that's all the Warriors really need from him, and then have that random 25-point game.
Completely. In the Thunder, you look at, like, this is what they've earned, that championship pedigree. They won it last year. They know how to close games. When it gets tight, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is getting the ball. He's a closer. They were able to do it against the Pacers and the Rockets, but I do feel like the West is there's a lot of very talented Western Conference. It'll be fun to see how the season plays out.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the other side. Get you ready. Oh, this is the play right here from Curry. 23 seconds left on the clock to tie it up. That was insanity. Craziness. All right, coming up next, let's preview San Diego State, Fresno State, the battle for the old oil can coming up tomorrow. We'll get into it next on San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey, we got 13 chances for you to win $1,000 every single weekday with the Bonus Bucks giveaway every hour from 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. Listen for the keyword, enter it at sportssd.com. Your next chance to win $1,000. That would be $1,000 in your hand is coming up at 1 o'clock today. All right, text line. We'll rip through some of these before getting to San Diego State, Fresno State. 619 saying, have you ever looked into his eyes? It was like the first time I heard the Beatles. That is from Superbad.
I can't believe we didn't pull that. That's an all-time movie.
It was on the tip of my tongue, and then I went Step Brothers, and I knew it was wrong because that's a voice like an angel, like a mix between Fergie and Jesus. I knew that the Beatles thing was different. 858 Chargers prove that when they're healthy, they are a real contender, but same goes for the Chiefs, Ravens, Broncos, Lions, Bucks, etc. Yeah, and the Ravens are getting Lamar back this week, it looks like.
I'm curious about that game. If they beat the Bears, like, people want to write them off. If the Ravens were able to get in as a low seed with not a lot of expectations, I feel like they might overperform it from being the one seeds that they've been, it feels like the last few years.
817 texting into the show, and I hate this text message, 817. He says, started watching Chad Powers on Hulu and realized Sammy kind of looks like Glenn Powell.
Oh, hell yeah.
Moving right along here, 619.
Shout
Herbert's
out to
record
you.
in the postseason is 0-1. Is not 0-1, it's 0-2. Blowing that 27-point lead to Jacksonville and then throwing 4 picks against the Texans.
Yes, I forgot about January. The Texans debacle.
619, Curry is 37 years old. Yeah, we confirmed that during the break. Crazy that Curry is playing this well at 37 years old. It's kind of amazing what he's been able to do. All right, San Diego State is hitting the road literally as of right now. I believe they are about to head over to the airport and hit the road. They're going up to Fresno, take on the Fresno State Bulldogs, who had a really, really nice start to the year, have fallen back a little bit. And when you look at some of the similar competition so far this year, San Diego State has phased or been better against similar teams. You look at what Fresno State's done so far. They narrowly beat Colorado, or they lost to Colorado State, 49-21, one of the bigger upsets. And against Nevada, they won 20-17. So San Diego State obviously blew both those teams out. And you're looking now at what this matchup means, and it does mean a lot. This is Fresno State's homecoming. It's one of their bigger games of the year. They may have taken a step back in terms of the Mountain West Championship conversation, where Fresno State was in the middle of it at the start of this year. And so you look now, and we kind of talked about this yesterday with Petros Papadakis, Sammy, about this race in the Mountain West. Well, it all goes out the window if San Diego State loses to Fresno State. That's what's on the line here. You're talking about a future where you're a potential Mountain West champion, and right now it does feel like a 3-team race between San Diego State, Boise State, and UNLV. That conversation gets thrown out the window with a loss against Fresno State. This is a huge game for the Aztecs.
And it feels like for the first time in a while now, to that point, the Aztecs are playing in games where they're favored. They're expected to win. There's expectations,
and it's meaningful football games
because of what they've done so far this year. They're not just hoping for a big time upset. The fact that they're 5-1, playing good football. I'm excited to see the defense this week. Warner, the quarterback for Fresno State, has 9 picks on the year, so he puts the ball up into play. They like to run the ball a lot with Donaldson, the running back. So I'm excited to see if the offense can take the show on the road. Obviously Napier's been fantastic, Lucky Sutton, and see if the defense can be a little bit opportunistic. Aztecs open as 3-point favorites in the game, been bet down at 2.5, but I'm excited for this one. I got early kick, 12:30. We will all be listening. I'm excited for this game.
Here's what is exciting about this. If you're a San Diego State fan, there's these accounts on social media that'll say, hey, just so you don't have to, I did the work for you. And these are the top 10 college football matchups of the weekend. This made its way onto a lot of lists. So understanding that, San Diego State has worked themselves into that narrative. And I think a big part of it is because with a win against Fresno State, a lot of us expect them to be in the top 25 come Monday, or maybe at least receiving more votes. Instead of 2, it's going to be more like 10. So we'll see. I think there's a lot on the line here. You're coming off your second bye week of the season. Fresno State also coming off a bye, I believe. No, yes.
And don't think that, like, I've heard a lot of people.
And it's homecoming, which we saw how that worked earlier this year with Washington State.
And a lot of people have been like, why aren't they ranked in the top 25? If the Aztecs keep winning, they will get in there, because UNLV is a known school. They have an electric offense that plays a lot late at night that a lot of people are watching. Boise State, obviously in the college football playoff last year. I know Genty's not there, but it's a program that people are paying attention to. San Diego State is going to have plenty of opportunities to get some big wins down the road here. The Aztecs keep winning, doing their business. They're going to be in contention here for hopefully a spot in the college football playoff, but we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
Well, I mean, you got Boise State coming up in a couple weeks. Imagine what that win does for you. If you're at Snapdragon Stadium, you get the win. Yeah, there's a long way in front of them. Now, did you happen to see, Sammy, what I sent you on Twitter earlier today?
It was just from Gruden?
From John Gruden in his office. San Diego State sent him a big box of equipment, which Gruden will do these unboxing videos, and they're hilarious, man. He does a really good job with them. But his thing with San Diego State, it's a 9-minute long video. The first half of it is John Gruden talking through like Aztec culture, like ancient culture with pyramids, and how it's just, you got to watch it. It's up on Twitter. I retweeted it at Fletch Sports.
John Gruden might be the most entertaining media member.
I think he's getting there. His interviews he'll do with young quarterbacks kill me every single time because he's intense. It's like, no, we're coaching right now. We're doing this. And the young quarterbacks sit there like, I thought this was a podcast, dude. What's going on? See that?
I forgot what quarterback turned him on to Migos, the rap group. And then he's like, his son walks in or whatever, and he's like bumping like this like hardcore rap. And he's like, I like this Migos, man.
I can't believe he stopped doing them. They were such gold. But the Gruden film breakdowns where he was just sitting in a dark room with a light on his face and he was like shaking back and forth, watching people, different schemes. He's very, very good at what he does. But check it out at Fletch Sports. John Gruden opening up a San Diego State swag box that has the helmet and everything. He loses his mind for a while. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. On the other side, Sammy, we've not locked in a pick yet. We don't know what we're doing.
We have not talked about our pick yet enough.
We need to become millionaires. We'll tell you how we're going to get there on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey, it's Fletch for Gary Cooper over at Mountain Trust Mortgage and Realty. Give him a call today, 858-376-1299. If you have purchased a home in the last few years, Gary Cooper has a way for you to save some money. Gary, tell the people what they want.
Well, that is true. And if you've refinanced in the last 3 years, if you have an interest rate that's in the mid to high sixes, or in a lot of cases, people have rates in the 7% range, the 10-year bond, the benchmark for long-term interest rates, has dipped below 4%. It's actually sitting at 3.97 right now. What does that mean to you? Interest rates are lowering. So I'll give you one example. If you were to do a rate and term refinance, no cash out on a single family house, estimated value $990, loan amount $740,000. That means you're at 75% loan to value, credit scores of 780 or better. Then you are looking at a 30-year fixed at this very moment at 5.925. That's 5.925 with an APR of 6.01. So that's a pretty good drop. And hopefully we'll get some more news this week on Friday, the Consumer Price Index. So if these reports start coming in favorably, we can see a little bit better interest rates in the following week. So don't sit and wait. You can always complete an application with me. We can sit and wait and kind of see what happens. But at least you have everything in. And if the rates do drop to a certain point, I can lock it right away for you.
All it takes is a phone call, 858-376-1299. Have a conversation with Gary Cooper that could save you cash. Call Gary Cooper today or visit him online at Mountain Trust.
This report is sponsored by eBay. Chargers dismantled the Minnesota Vikings last night, 37-10. In the NBA tonight, you hear the game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Lakers game 2. Still no LeBron James, who's out until mid-November. You hear it on 760 at 7 o'clock. Lakers will be hosting the Minnesota Timberwolves and SDFC on Sunday. First playoff match period, taking on Portland. That game is at 6:30. Again, you can hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. San Diego is currently minus 160 on the money line in game 1. Swapping out your tires, there's nothing like it. With eBay, you find the feel you're looking for, from smooth highway rides to grip for rough terrain. Get all the tires you need at prices you'll love. eBay, things people love.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. We got a 4-pack of tickets for you to go to Hallow Scream at SeaWorld San Diego. We're going to give those away in hour number 2. So keep listening. We'll be giving them away sometime very, very soon. All right, quick story before we talk about our circuit pick. If you were listening to the show yesterday, you know I was in Las Vegas doing the show at the Mountain West Media Day. It was great catching up with Brian Dutcher, Miles Bird, Reese Waters, and some other coaches around the Mountain West. But something happened on my way home from Vegas last night. We were stuck on the tarmac for like 45 minutes, which is maybe my least favorite thing in the world when you're on the plane and not moving anywhere. It's the worst. But before that, going through TSA, every time, Sammy, I bring the broadcast equipment with me anywhere, it gets checked and double checked and triple checked. Well, this time, same thing happened. It got checked. They had to take everything out of it. But in the middle of all that, as I walked through the little scanner dealie, little Fletch lights up on the scanner.
Oh no.
And I think it's because
I know you did not just name it Little Fletch.
It's because of my jeans. The zipper is thick, I guess. I don't know, but it lights up on the scanner and I see it clear as day on the screen. And I'm like,
sorry to anyone on their lunch break right now.
oh my God, they're going to have to pat me down. And so they pull me over to the side, and the guy who is maybe 5'3", little guy looking up at me is like, sir, this is what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to rub the back of my hand all around your groin and through the seam and everything, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, do what you got to do, man. Neither of us are going to like this. Just get it over with. I understand TSA. It's important, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, what side is your property on? And I said, excuse me? He said, what side is your property on?
Down my leg.
I'm looking at him. I'm like, I mean, I guess a little to the left right now. I don't know. What are you asking me? And then I literally said, I guess a little to the left right now. And he said, no, your bags.
You did not just say that to the TSA agent.
That is exactly how the conversation went. And the look on his face when I said, I guess a little to the left right now.
This poor TSA agent that's just doing his job, keeping us all safe, that you're that's insane to me. Like, what? I can't believe you actually thought that's what he was asking you.
What am I supposed to think? So what he was talking about?
He doesn't want to know what anything about your thing.
Sammy, I literally, he just got through his spiel about how he's going to be touching me there. And then he's saying, what side is your property on? I'm assuming he's like, what side do I need to know if I'm feeling something? It was an uncomfortable situation for everyone involved.
A lot of real estate.
No, I don't. That's the funny part. But it was very awkward. I feel bad for that guy. He's just doing his job.
Yeah, he's just keeping you safe, making sure you don't have a weapon in the airport. And you're making it uncomfortable for him.
Dude, it was uncomfortable for me. Like, it's an uncomfortable situation for everyone around, which is why I was like, just get it over with. Neither of us are going to like this. So that's my little Vegas story. All right, Circa. Speaking of Vegas.
Wow.
So early in the week, we were all over the Falcons, and that does feel like a safer pick if we're not going Bills, because we can't use Bills this week because we need the Bills in week 10, which is an absolutely brutal week. Problem is, this week is bye Mageddon. Tons of teams on bye. Tons of teams we might want to pick on bye this week. So looking through, Sammy, I have an alternative.
What is it?
Because the initial pick we talked about was Atlanta.
Atlanta over Miami makes a lot of sense.
How comfortable do you feel with Michael Penix?
I feel pretty good about the game. Now, Michael Penix does have a bone bruise, but he's expected to play through it in his knee.
Can I give you my alternative?
What's the alternative?
Our boy Baker Mayfield on the road against the Saints.
I'm not opposed to it. Here's reservation with that. Divisional opponent.
Sure.
A short week. They played Monday.
And everyone's hurt. That's a recipe for disaster. The other game I thought about, and it makes me like, are we really going to bet on this team with $1,000 essentially? Bengals hosting the Jets?
Yes. What gave me reservation this morning, right before we got into the show today, Trey Hendrickson is questionable for the game. So the Jets, Aaron Glenn, the media keeps asking him who's going to be the starting quarterback for the New York Jets. And all signs are pointing to Tyrod Taylor, but he won't officially name Tyrod the starting quarterback, which is about the most Jets thing possible. Justin Fields has been an abject disaster the last month of basically the entire season, but especially the last month. Tyrod, it makes me a little nervous that like maybe the team plays with a little juice. Tyrod really has nothing to lose, but since he should win that game at home, they're currently 4.5 point favorites. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm curious about this week, man. It feels last week was so chalky where none of the favorites ended up getting knocked down. And we thought that there were some opportunities for it. And there was several opportunities for it. We saw the massive comeback from the Broncos against the Giants. And then who are the Packers playing against? Or the Packers?
This week, Packers got Pittsburgh.
No, last week when the Packers looked like they were going to lose until the final 2 minutes.
Oh, Arizona.
Arizona, that's right.
If only the Giants and Arizona would have held on, we would have knocked about 800 people out.
It was more than that. It was over 1,000 because there were 700 people alone on the Broncos. So I'm looking at this week like something is going to happen. There's going to be a favorite that gets knocked off, and we just have to make sure we're not picking that favorite.
The best,
which is what makes me nervous about Atlanta.
The best thing about this, so a lot of people are picking the Chiefs. Obviously, no Jaden Daniels Monday night. Chiefs are big favorites there, picking the Bills.
Here's the projected pick popularity. Most people are on the Colts, 32%, 26% on the Falcons, 17 on the Bengals, 9 on the Pats, 5 on the Eagles, 5 on the Chiefs, 4 on the Bills, 2 on the Bucks.
I like that we're sticking with our not using Thanksgiving teams. Like the Chiefs are obviously a big thing going on. Like that's going to be a team that's going to be on Christmas and Thanksgiving.
You just get your glasses delivered.
Yeah.
So Sammy's been a total doucher all day with those dark sunglasses.
I had to take my sunglasses off because I was like, the comments on this were getting nasty. You know what I mean?
Man.
So are we leaning Atlanta? Is that where we're going?
I think that's where we were. I could be easily convinced to go to the Buccaneers. And that,
but on a short week.
No, I get what you're saying. They're valid concerns, but then I think about Michael Penix and some of the games he's put up this year.
So the thing with the Falcons, though, is you look at, so they decimate the Bills defense. Bills defense has not been very good this year. Big performance. The Niners defense, with no Fred Warner, no Nick Bosa, shut them down. They look awful. Like Miami, the one thing Miami can do, even though they're in abject disasters, they can score some points.
Right. That's
like,
what makes me nervous about Atlanta. Atlanta has shown at times, if Bijan's not going God mode, does Atlanta even have an offense?
But if we're able to win and Atlanta is able to win this game, which they should, they're currently, I believe they're 6.5 point favorites. I will check that.
Bucks are 4.5 point favorites.
I feel like there's better opportunities to use the Bucks down the stretch.
Maybe, probably, when everyone gets a little healthier. It makes me nervous. This week is a scary one because we're not taking the Bills because we need to save the Bills. But everyone who is taking the Bills this week, you are effed come week 10 because week 10 is brutal. All right, quick break here on the other side. Time for long shots. Did we win yesterday?
We went 3 of 4. Damn, Christian Brown had to sell us in the night game.
Damn, darn, stinks. We'll get a long shots on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Hello Scream tickets coming up in hour number 2 of the show. So keep it tuned in here at San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. John and Jim will take over. Then these texts have got out of control. Text line is open all day.
The text line?
Every day.
We love the text line.
70470. Start your message with team. In response to my TSA question, 619 says, Fletch, the question is, did you have any movement after the pat down from TSA? There's nothing wrong with that.
It's like the Seinfeld episode when he gets the massage. He goes, "And move, Jerry."
I'll plead the fifth.
Move, Jerry.
Fletch, I unfortunately had that same pat down. The TSA agent even offered to perform the pat down in a separate room. Kind of wish I would have taken that offer. They've offered that to me in the past before. I was like, no, if you're going to do this, you're going to do this with everybody watching.
Yeah, then
I go full Patrick Star, just spread eagle on him and say,
what if you just
do what you got to do?
What if you just they're like, sir, we got to pat you down, and you're like, no problem, and just started stripping on the spot.
Yeah, I didn't do that. 949 says, Ben, a little to the left. Fletcher needs to ride to San Francisco. Mac Jones is better than Purdy. Thanks. 615, is Atlanta available for you guys? Bijan's going to control 55 minutes of that clock. I think that's where we're going.
I think Atlanta is the pick that keeps us in the running for not using a Buffalo or something like that, but also is a team that we're not. The Falcons are a decent team. You're not putting a bunch of money on Cincinnati or something where you start to get a little nervous.
Is this the game where Miami really steps up to defend their coach? I don't think so, but
in a weird way, I feel better with the fact that they have not fired Mike McDaniel, and would, like, you saw Tennessee, despite them losing New England last week, come out with a little bit of fight after firing Brian Callahan.
They got their asses kicked in the game, but yes, they did come out with a little bit of fight. 858, Hendrickson not playing for the Bengals doesn't matter for the offense, and the entire Jets team is questionable.
615.
It makes me nervous that Tyrod's going to be quarterback for the Jets. He's better than Fields. Ugh.
He is, and he can control the offense. 615, if your Survivor comes down to week 16, would you have a watch party? If so, where? We will definitely be having a watch party if this thing gets, if we get close.
Yes. If we get to like the final week of the season and there's 2 or 3 teams left and we're one of them, at worst comes to worst, it's in my backyard and everybody can come over and I'll set up the TV outside. We'll try to get somewhere involved with it. I know a guy who owns K&B Bistro down in Del Cerro.
Oh, we're throwing a big party for
I'm assuming we can throw it there.
So quick question for long shots, because I got a lot of selections here. Are we going to do 2? So there's so many sports on this weekend.
I think we do 1 here and 1 at the end of the show. 1 World Series based, 1 NFL based.
I like this because then I have a couple World Series picks that I'm going to leave off for this one right now.
This is baseball's problem, by the way, because I kind of keep forgetting that the World Series is starting tonight. And maybe that's a me problem, but I feel like, I don't know. It's been too long since we last saw baseball played.
That's a real thing. The NBA Finals had this problem last year. Remember when it was like a great series between the Thunder and Pacers, and yet there were 3 days in between. Sometimes people were like,
bizarre.
Wait, the finals is on tonight? Like, people, it's fun when it's in a flow. The World Series will be fun, but I hear you. There's so many other sports going on right now.
Can I give baseball props for just a second?
Yes.
All the games are at 5:00.
That's fantastic.
Well done, baseball. Because in years past, there's sometimes been games that started like 3 or way later. It doesn't make sense what baseball's done in the past. Every game starting at 5 is good. That's 8:00 East Coast, which is rough, but 5:00 for us, perfect.
Well, and that was the worry too with Toronto. Is it's like they better not start these games at 3:00.
Right.
Like, no one's going to be watching if this is 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. Like that should not be happening.
Club going up on a Tuesday. Sammy, let's launch some long shots, huh? Go ahead and smash it.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money and you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance
Say that to me and his money.
with long shots.
To be honest, Sammy, I kind of like the name Ben Little to the left Fletcher.
Little to the left, Fletcher. Little to the left. Little
Seriously,
to the left.
he's got to find a better way of phrasing it than what side is your property on. Come on.
Well,
Come on.
your property meaning your luggage.
Yeah, I didn't know that. He was looking at my area when he said it because he was about to pat me down.
How excited did you get right before then?
Not excited at all. It happens to me, unfortunately, quite a bit, and I hate it every single time, but I just want to get it over with. And I usually try to make awkward eye contact with someone in the room to be like, hey, this is happening, and you're going to go through this with me. Sammy, where are we going with long shots?
All right, we have so we have 3 NFL picks and 1 UFC. We have a big UFC title fight going on tomorrow.
Yeah, we got some heavyweights in action, don't we?
We got some heavyweights in action, so we'll get to that in a second. First pick, though, Denver, Dallas. This game, I'm super stoked on Sunday to watch this game. See how the Cowboys offense can perform against that Denver defense, who Fletch did point out has kind of feasted on some not so great competition. We'll see. Big spot for both teams, though. We're going George Pickens more than 57.5 receiving yards. Tell you why. Surtain's going to be following CeeDee Lamb all game. Surtain and CeeDee Lamb, that's going to be an extremely fun battle. You got to think both guys are going to win at both times in that game. George Pickens, though, the weakness of this Denver Bronco defense is the number 2 corner spot in Riley Moss. He has been susceptible to the big play this season. No one has had more big plays than George Pickens. This guy has been feasting as the number 1 receiver. Had a good week last week despite CeeDee Lamb coming back. I think CeeDee Lamb coming back is actually a good thing for him. And even though it probably takes away a few targets, allows him to get a little bit more one-on-one matchups on the outside. So
isn't there some speculation that Pickens is about to sign an extension with the Cowboys?
Well, because it came out that he kind of was like, I enjoy Dallas, but basically said, I'm going where the money is. So
right.
If Dallas wants to keep him,
I saw some numbers being floated out there, and I don't know if it was from a reputable source within the Cowboys organization, but it sounds like they might be getting close to signing him long term.
So yeah, something.
So maybe he wants to prove himself here. Add some more zeros onto that contract.
Fletch, you had a pick. I am going to go away from it though, because I think that not because I don't like the pick. It's because it is on the Falcons, the team that we're going to be picking for Circus Survivor, and I don't want to put too much on one thing. Okay.
Bijan Robinson more than 35.5 receiving yards is easy money.
Okay, if you want to add that, you can. I got a couple other ones. Jackson Dart. Now, I'm a big Jackson Dart fan. I love the way he's played so far this year. He was fantastic at USC, fantastic at Ole Miss, and now it's been regalvanized that entire Giants organization. But I am going to go under. Less than 202.5 pass yards against Philly. They took it to Philly 2 weeks ago. They embarrassed Philly 34-17. I think Philly gets a little get back here, especially after last week, the way they played against Minnesota. The Giants were, and kudos to them, they were talking a lot of mess, as they should, because it's been a long time since the Giants had something to say to the New York Giants. We're going to go less than 202.5 pass yards for Jackson Dart on the night. And then we're going to go revenge game. Aaron Rodgers, more than 217.5 pass yards. I think he's going to feast against his old team. I actually like what I've heard from Aaron Rodgers all week about how he's like, this is not a revenge game.
And it just went down a yard to 216.5.
Exactly. So people elsewhere in the country are betting against this, which is good for us because he's going to hit the over on this. 216.5 more than. I think this is a really electric game. And some of this Green Bay defense, like it's headlined with your pass rushers and Micah Parsons and that front seven. But the back end's been susceptible to some big plays. We saw Joe Flacco kind of tear up this defense towards the end of this game. I think Rodgers has something in Pittsburgh, more than 216.5 pass yards. And then we're going to the UFC. Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gahn, 7.5 fight time minutes less than. I think Aspinall is going to dispatch of Gahn fast. I think this is a 1-round knockout, chokeout, whatever this is. Aspinall is the one kind of problem the UFC has is Aspinall is elite.
He's too good for everyone but John Jones.
100%. And John Jones won't fight him. There's a lot of
John Jones is scared.
John Jones knows that he has a hungry guy. That would be a pretty 50-50 fight, especially at this stage in John Jones' career later on, having not fought at the frequency that he has in the past. Tom Aspinall is fantastic. He can crack. He has power in both hands. He can wrestle. He has great takedown defense. Cyril Gahn has been kind of a perennial contender in the UFC and was kind of marketed as a possible next champion, but has never really been able to beat the elite top-tier competition. I think this is an Aspinall showcase, trying to set up that John Jones showdown.
First-round knockout?
I think it's a first-round knockout. I think you could
How
get
many
it.
minutes?
I'm going to go 3 minutes, but I think it's not a knockout. I think it's submission.
Where's our 760 number who loves the UFC? Let us know what you think about that one.
760, let us know. But Tom Aspinall, less than 7.5 fight time minutes. Again, I think this is a showcase to set up. There's been some rumors about John Jones and him fighting next year, possibly on that White House card. I think this is to kind of generate buzz, throwing Gahn to the wolves a little bit with Aspinall. So to recap, Aaron Rodgers, more than 216.5 pass yards. George Pickens, wide receiver for Dallas, more than 57.5 receiving yards. Jackson Dart for the New York Giants, less than 202.5 pass yards. Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gahn, less than 7.5 fight time minutes.
Now, Steve Hartman is a legendary voice here in San Diego, really in the world of sports radio.
Everyone knows me.
Everybody. You can't go anywhere with Steve without 10 people talking to him. That is a absolute fact. Steve Hartman is going to be joining us coming up in hour number 2 at 1:30. I'm curious what he has to talk about today. I wonder what he thinks about this NBA gambling thing.
Oh, I'm sure he will have some very clippable moments at 1:30.
Chauncey Billups, I've said this for years. Idiot. Fraud, bad coach, bad player. Does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? No.
I might have been at those poker games.
Yeah.
I got kicked out for talking too
Can
much.
you imagine Steve gambling? Oh, my God. That'd be a problem is what that would be.
Dude.
All right. We got hour number 2 coming up next, including Steve Hartman, including some Hello Scream tickets. We will reset that long shots if you missed it. And plus, we're going to do a bonus long shots coming up at 1:45 to do with the World Series tonight, which is what we're going to be talking about next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by eBay STFC. First playoff match of the franchise's history, Sunday, 6:30. You can hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. San Diego is currently favored by minus 160 on the money line. And breaking news out of the NFL, star wide receiver A.J. Brown, disgruntled star wide receiver A.J. Brown, has been ruled out Sunday for the Eagles against the Giants. Wonder what's going on there.
It says hamstring. What is the classic faking an injury?
When's the trade coming down in the next hour? Swapping out your tires, there's nothing like it with eBay. You find the feel you're looking for, from smooth highway rides to grip for rough terrain. Get all the tires you need at prices you'll love. eBay, things people love.
Welcome to the Fletch Zone.
That might be fun.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
They're really random and off the wall.
Show us what you got.
Some sanity returns to the NFL.
Herbert rolling to the right, looking to the right, stops, has to reverse course, throws to the end zone, caught, touchdown! Chargers! Trey Harris!
Big win for the Chargers to kick off the weekend, and a look at Sunday's action. Plus, the Fall Classic gets started up in Toronto. The Aztecs are up in Fresno for another Mountain West matchup. SDFC steps into the playoffs versus Portland.
En Jefe con Amal Pellegrino. Pellegrino! Gol! Kansas City Football Club! Amal Pellegrino! Yes! Crack open a bottle of Pellegrino, papa!
And sorry, no NBA betting jokes here. At least not yet. We wade through a packed weekend from the studios of San Diego Sports 760 in the Fletch Zone.
It's hour number 2, everybody. Welcome in. Those SeaWorld tickets are coming up very, very shortly. Do not go anywhere. In fact, by the end of this segment, before we go to commercial breaks, those 4 packet tickets will be in someone's hands. So keep on listening. Sammy just said it in his update. A.J. Brown ruled out this week. Apparently, he hasn't practiced all week. Had you seen that report, Sammy? I had not.
I had seen it 2 days ago. He wasn't practicing. This comes after A.J. Brown. This is one of the most fascinating stories. Dude has 4 catches for 121 yards and 2 touchdowns last week against Minnesota.
Then he still puts up that weird Instagram post.
What he say? He said, they use me,
but they don't use me. It was weird, man. It's like they use me for promotional stuff, but they don't use me on the field. Well, you just got used on the field.
And I mean, so this has been the long running thing. It's like, so should they trade him? I'm curious. We got a lot of Eagles fans listening. 70470. Start your message with team. Are you over AJ Brown? Would you trade him even if you're not an Eagle fan? You wonder if it's like, listen, they're winning games, but at some point, do you want to deal with this every week in, week out?
I just typed into Google, what's the most common injury in football to fake to get traded to a different team? And the first thing that pops up is hamstring strain.
Well, because you can't diagnose it. You go, I pulled my hamstring.
Yeah, it hurts.
That's what Terry Rozier did to get out of that basketball game.
And Terry Rozier's in jail now. So see how that works for him, AJ Brown? No, look, this is fascinating. It's absolutely news. The Eagles, there's some level of locker room disruption. We know that that's going on right now. And I'm not saying 100% that AJ Brown is faking this hamstring injury, but if there was an injury you're going to fake right after a week where you put up 100 plus yards and had an excellent game, it would be a hamstring if you're disgruntled with the team. And it sounds like that's what's happening. And for him to be ruled out on Friday for a Sunday matchup, guess what? Hamstrings, if they are tweaked, they get better. Like sometimes they get worse, but you don't know that on Friday.
What does AJ Brown want? He got 2 touchdowns and over 120 yards receiving.
It might not be about the stats anymore. It might be about, so I make a fuss and then you throw it to me for one game and then the next game, boom, I'm worked out of the game plan. Like that could be it.
I would have so much respect for Jalen Hurts if Jalen Hurts goes, listen, AJ Brown, I'm a damn Super Bowl champion. I know you are too, but I was the reason why we won that Super Bowl, because in the Super Bowl they lost against the Chiefs, he played fantastic. Jalen Hurts needs to be like, either get with the program or we're done with you, because you're hurting the team. I've never seen a team that's 5-2 that has had this much negative energy in media attention surrounding it.
It is bizarre. All right. We got a lot going on in San Diego this weekend. Aztecs up in Fresno. They're playing against Fresno State tomorrow. Huge game for San Diego State. JR Tolver and I will get on the air tomorrow morning at 10:30 from here in San Diego. Rich and John on their way to Fresno as we speak. And then Sunday, SDFC, their home postseason game, the first ever postseason game in SDFC's history. We're expecting news today on whether or not Chucky Lozano is going to be playing in that game. We will see. In fact, I think the press conference already happened. So if I missed something, hit me up on the text line, 70470. Start your message with team. We also have the World Series beginning tonight. Now, Sammy, game 1 is in Toronto. Nice timing for Shohei to leave the country right as a gambling probe is happening across all sports. Just saying. Not nothing. Just saying. But they are in Toronto for game one, where you feel like if Toronto's going to have a shot in this series, it has to come with a win in game one against Blake Snell, who's been damn near unhittable since this postseason has begun. What do you put the Blue Jays shots at tonight?
I think their shot tonight.
And if they lose tonight, is the series over? Because that's kind of where I'm at.
I think you have to go. You have to at least obviously win one in Toronto and take it back. If they lose both in Toronto and they take this back to LA,
it's toast. It's done.
It's over, because if you're able to beat one of the Dodgers aces in Yamamoto or Blake Snell, obviously Shohei Ohtani and Tyler Glasnow could still go as aces. The one underrated part of this series that we could see Toronto be able to take advantage of the Dodgers, Bo Bichette, big time slugger, back on the roster for the Blue Jays, big boost for them. And the one of the star bullpen arms for the Dodgers, Alex Vesia, is on a kind of family leave.
Oh yeah, I saw that report earlier today. It's strange,
it's very strange,
bizarre timing.
Apparently a family issues. So wishing him nothing but the best. But like the Dodgers bullpen's been awful outside of Sasaki. He's been the one guy the Dodgers have been able to go to in the 7th, 8th inning to hand the ball to Sasaki. That gives you a little pause that if you're the Blue Jays, you're like, hey, if you can knock one of these pitchers out of the game earlier on, now that's easier said than done because the Dodgers starting pitching staff is fantastic. You might be able to take advantage of this bullpen a little bit because Blake Trinan has not been money. Emmett Sheehan has been susceptible to long ball time. So I think that's going to be an underrated part of the series. And I think if you're Toronto, you certainly have to split in Toronto in the first 2 games. And if you could win 2, that would obviously flip the series on its head.
I would just throw Max Scherzer out there as much as possible. Let that dude be an absolute dog. Let him eat and see if you can do something special. Come on, Max.
858.
Do it for the rest of us, please.
858.
You know how many San Diegans became Drake fans over the last couple of days? They're like, I'm all about the 6, yo.
By the way, Pharrell is coming out.
Who?
Pharrell Williams,
because I'm happy clapping around. That guy.
So he is performing like, you know how Ice Cube came out for LA last year,
sure.
Fat Joe. Pharrell is coming out night 1. I'm surprised Toronto didn't go with Drake because you have the Drake Kendrick beef again with LA and Toronto. I'm surprised that Toronto's not going with Drake because LA would
Pharrell
certainly
kind of sucks.
Huh?
Pharrell kind of sucks.
He's a good producer, but that's not who I would have chosen.
All right, let's get to the big 3 of hour number 2 here. Brian, we saw your text. It's an excellent text, and that's actually going to be our next topic. So if you're waiting for us to read it, wait a little bit longer.
Yes,
We're going to get that at
1:15.
All right, Sammy, let's get to the big 3. Go ahead, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
San Diego Sports 760. This is where Sammy rips through the top stories in the world of sports. A little bit of a smorgasbord, if you will, a little charcuterie board of appetizers getting us ready for the sports weekend. Sammy, where are we going?
Let's start with the Jets. So the Jets, I mean, what is going on here? They refused to name their QB1. So all reports were that everything was up in the air. Woody Johnson earlier this week, the owner of the New York Jets, made a comment about how it would be nice if we could complete a pass, talking about the quarterback situation, but they refused to name Tyrod Taylor the starting quarterback, who is the backup to Justin Fields. Do you think the Jets are handling this situation well, or should they just start Fields and try to lose out the rest of the year for the number 1 pick?
The Tyrod Taylor is the starter, and I think it's pretty obvious. I would be shocked, utterly shocked, if Justin Fields ends up starting for the Jets this weekend, because Justin Fields just got publicly blasted by the team's owner. That's not something you can just walk back and all of a sudden Justin Fields is back on the field. It's going to be Tyrod this week. I don't know why they're slow playing it. They don't need to slow play it, but we'll see. I think they have to make. They don't have to announce it till the game time if it's truly a conversation. But I think it's already been decided.
I'm curious if Aaron Glenn comes back next year, because this has been a rough go for the Jets. And listen, they're not giving him a bunch to work with. But remember week 1? Remember when they lost to Pittsburgh, but it was 34-32, and people were like high on the Jets and this offense? It has fallen off the face of the earth. I mean, Justin Fields, I guess, has the higher ceiling, but he's been terrible so far. So I guess you got to go to Tyrod Taylor. This just feels like a team that is so lost, so poorly mismanaged. And you're looking at this going, why is Woody Johnson opening his mouth? He's probably opening his mouth as knowing that Aaron Glenn's going to be gone. They're obviously making a quarterback change. But
you think Aaron Glenn's gone after this year?
I think so.
Why?
I'm not saying I would do that. I'm saying I think the Jet. This is what
That's not the read I have on this situation. I think Woody Johnson was trying to protect Aaron Glenn by talking extra crap about the quarterback and saying, "Look, I think Aaron's doing a good job with the defense. If we could complete a pass, it'd be a different story."
I guess I could see that, but I just feel like that when you have an organization that's so mismanaged like the Jets, I could easily see them blowing Aaron Glenn out after one season.
Maybe. All right, what's next?
Let's head to, again, the UFC, big title fight tomorrow. Cyril Gane challenging Tom Aspinall for the heavyweight championship of the world. A, do you see Gane being a threat in this fight? But number two, is it better or worse that Tom Aspinall seems to be so much better than everyone else and the fact that there's not as many good contenders coming up the pipeline? Or do you like it when a division is more the belts changing hands constantly because everyone's kind of on an even playing field?
Here's the biggest problem Tom Aspinall has, because he is great. And they're really, right now, without John Jones being a part of the equation, there is nobody to really challenge him. Tom Aspinall got great too late in life, or at least got recognized too late in life. He's 32 years old. He has quotes about this as earlier this year where he's like, look, I don't know how many good fights I have left, and I don't really have anybody to fight right now, which is the biggest push to get him to fight against John Jones, because you're literally dealing with legacy. A boxer and the success, or a fighter in this case in the UFC, their success sometimes gets determined by the level of fighter they're able to go against. And right now, Tom Aspinall doesn't have an equal to go against. Well, he does, but that guy is claiming he's retired. So I don't know what Dana White and the powers that be at the UFC, or maybe Turki Al-Sheikh wants to get involved and put up some extra money for John Jones, because they got to make this fight happen. Otherwise, we don't know how great John Jones truly is, because we think there might be someone who's better than him in Tom Aspinall. But Tom Aspinall is trying to get the fight, but John Jones won't do it. So both of their legacies are kind of on the line here, even though John Jones already has the tag of GOAT. Well, is he? We haven't seen him fight against Tom Aspinall. So we'll never know if it doesn't happen.
Right. It's kind of like you need, like in boxing, Crawford needed Canelo to get that win to show how great of a fighter he was. For sure. We all knew he was a great fighter, but that's the kind of legacy fight he was able to have. Yes, the John Jones fight needs to happen. It's always an interesting thing in like solo sports, golf, tennis, boxing, UFC. Is it better when you have someone who's dominating everyone? Like in boxing, this happened in the heavyweight division. Vladimir Klitschko would beat everyone for a long time, and it was kind of was bad for the sport in a weird way, because people didn't feel like there was anyone that could beat him. Aspinall, there's some big names out there. Obviously, John Jones is the fight that everyone wants to see.
And John Jones is 38. How many more fights does he have left?
And he's retiring, then not retiring, then pulling himself back into the testing.
And he doesn't want to go out on a loss, which is why I think he's ducking Aspinall.
Totally. And then the big money fight that would sell, I don't know how feasible this is Alex Pereira, who we just saw destroy Enclave in the light heavyweight championship of the world in the second fight. But you kind of feel like even Tom Aspinall is like, listen, if he wants to come up here and fight, that's fine. It's going to sell a lot of pay-per-views, especially to the casual fan. I don't think Pereira has much of a shot against a guy like Aspinall, who's used to taking punches against heavyweight. I don't care how bad you are and how hard you can hit. At some point, you move up enough weight divisions, you're going to get found out. So it would be fun in the UFC if there was some guys that really challenge Aspinall, but I guess we just got to cherish Aspinall while we still got him.
There's some good fights this weekend if you're looking to buy the card. One of the last cards you actually have to buy, which is nice. Umar Nurmagomedov, is that Khabib's brother? Cousin?
I believe so, yeah.
Cousin, I think. He's fighting this weekend. Volkov is fighting this weekend. It's good fights up and down the card, so enjoy it. It's going to be a good one. But yeah, I think Aspinall gets this thing done in the first. And our texter from the 760 who loves the UFC agrees Aspinall gets it done in the first.
Let's head back to the World Series. So let's just say the Dodgers win the World Series. A, will this be a dynasty? Number one. And number two, if it is, how will this dynasty be viewed compared to previous dynasties in the MLB?
There will be a book written about this team that's title is something along the lines of the team that broke baseball. I don't know when that comes out. Maybe it's 10 years from now. Maybe Jeff Passan's already writing it because he has stories up about it all the time. But you look at the way this Dodgers team was built, and everybody will consistently go back to the fact that the four starting pitchers that pitched against the Brewers in that 4-0 sweep made more combined than the entire Brewers team. I'm not saying it's the Dodgers' fault. They are taking advantage of a bad system, but baseball is a bad system. The players know it. The owners know it. The players want to make it worse because they want more money, and you can't blame them for that. The owners, I think, want to get it a little bit back to more competitive. Not the Dodgers side, obviously, because they keep winning World Series. But everyone else around baseball, and maybe that is a little bit worse for the players, but you know who it's not worse for? The viewers. And I think that viewers of baseball, with attendance going up and ratings actually going up this year, deserve better than just one team ripping through everybody because there's such an imbalance. It's better in sports when you have a Patriots dynasty. While, yes, a bunch of people hated them, they didn't break any sort of system. Like, there was a salary cap in place, and the Patriots just did it better because they had the best quarterback to ever live leading the way. The Dodgers right now have 5 or 6 of the best players in baseball, and it's just, I hate to play that it's not fair card because be better if you're the other teams, but right now it does feel like the Dodgers are doing one thing that no other team in baseball is doing.
Well, there's obviously a whole conversation here about the fact that I agree with you. It is the Dodgers are the certified patient. The Mets spend a lot of money. The Yankees spend a lot of money. This is a baseball problem. Of course, there should be a salary cap. Every other sport, the NBA, the NFL, they all have salary caps to prevent this. They also need to have a salary floor. You cannot have half the MLB organizations that are really not trying to win a World Series every year.
Yes, as much as the Dodgers are to blame, the Rays are equally to blame.
100%.
And so are the A's. Like, the teams that don't spend are as equal to blame as the teams that are spending too much.
So I think there will be a book written about this team if they win. Now, the one thing I will say in defense of the Dodgers is if you look at the top 5 acquisitions of the offseason for the Dodgers, Blake Snell, they outbid 5 years, $182 million. He has been the ace for them in the postseason. Roki Sasaki has been fantastic. He's kind of a wash because the Dodgers couldn't outbid for him. The Blue Jays were in. Obviously, the Padres were in. That was simply they won his services over because of the Japanese rules of him transferring over. The other 3 top acquisitions, though, they outbid everyone.
Tanner Scott
has not pitched in the postseason and has been awful all season. Michael Conforto did not make the postseason roster, and neither did Kirby Yates. So I feel like a little bit of the, hey, they're just spending more than everyone.
I mean, it's a good point. However, Shohei Ohtani's on this team, and he's not even making any money right now from the Dodgers. It's all been delayed 10 years.
Obviously, that's Shohei is the one that they're paying him nothing. The equity they're getting back for Shohei Ohtani.
They're making money on the Shohei Ohtani contract.
They made back his entire contract in 1 year because of the markets that have opened in
Crazy.
Asia.
All
But
right,
it'll be an interesting series.
We ran out of time here. We are going to give away SeaWorld tickets right now. So 4-pack of tickets on the line for Hallow Scream at SeaWorld San Diego. 5 haunted houses, 8 terrifying scare zones, hidden speakeasies, and coasters after dark every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday now through November 2nd. Halloween fun for the whole family. What color number are we giving these to, Sammy?
We've went up every day. We're going to go 14.
Caller number 14. Wow, and the phone line's already lit up. 877-767-4760. Caller number 14, you're going to SeaWorld Hallow Scream. Coming up on the other side, an excellent text from the 760. We'll get to it next. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. All right, we got this text message in from the 760, Sammy. It's our buddy Brian who will text these really long, well thought out takes.
These fantastic takes.
Brian might be better at this than we are. But this text from the 619 from Brian says, Friday hot take. Are we currently witnessing the transformation of Josh Allen to the Dan Marino of our time? I know he's ranked as one of the best quarterbacks, but it seems like he consistently underperforms when needed, especially in big games. His last game against Atlanta made me think he may never break through and win the big games, including a Super Bowl. Sadly, the Bills have a history for Super Bowls of underperforming, so Allen may have been doomed by going to the Bills. Curious your thoughts. Love the show, from Brian. I think that Josh Allen, and I'm going to say this as carefully as possible because who's on the other side of that glass? I think Josh Allen suffers from the same thing a lot of quarterbacks have suffered from. How many more Super Bowls, or does he have any, Phillip Rivers have if the Patriots don't exist? Same with Peyton Manning, same with Ben Roethlisberger, same with a lot of the quarterbacks that were in the AFC during the run of dominance from the New England Patriots. Josh Allen, unfortunately, gets into the league around the same time someone named Patrick Mahomes is starting his rise to dominance. So far, we haven't seen it yet. I will say Josh Allen last year in the postseason was excellent in pretty much every game. And he was excellent when the Bills went out. So I don't know that we can say he underperforms when the lights are on the brightest. I think Josh Allen was maybe the best player in all of last year's postseason, if I'm being completely honest. And he was one miscalled, by the way, fourth down quarterback sneak away from maybe changing the narrative of the entire NFL postseason a year ago. This is why I said I'm going to say all this very carefully because of who's on the other side of the glass, because I see him absolutely stewing right now.
Well, okay, so I'm going to get to Josh Allen in a second. I'm going to respond to that with the fourth down. We can debate that fourth down call not. I think where Josh Allen's a phenomenal player. He's won MVP. He will be a Hall of Famer. He is, when you watch him, if you just sit down and watch a game and you watch as the quarterback position, you watch him play the game, you go, that guy is legit and one of the scariest players in the NFL.
I would say he's the archetypes of what you want the modern quarterback to look like, feel like, play like.
I think Josh Allen, though, why it's a little bit different than the rest of these guys, is in the NBA, it's always thought of that despite if you're playing in the Michael Jordan era, you're playing in the Kobe Bryant or the LeBron era, there's probably going to be one season where you're going to be able to sneak in. In the NFL, we expect that Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, these guys, are going to break through and get to the Super Bowl. And maybe they do this year. Maybe Josh Allen goes and wins the Super Bowl and changes the entire narrative. But it's in the NFL, it is so hard to win. Aaron Rodgers, who would have guessed that he went to one Super Bowl his entire career? If you would have said in 2010 when they won, you'd been like, oh, Rodgers by the end of his career probably looking at 3-4 Super Bowls.
Yeah, but he just keeps turning into the Niners in the postseason.
My problem with Josh Allen is this. People want to say he's better than Patrick Mahomes, and we look at some of the playoff games. He's lost to Mahomes 4 times. He's lost to Joe Burrow another time. So against 2 of the elite quarterbacks in the AFC, he is currently 0-5. And we look at in these games.
All right, but in those 4 games, 2 of them, he left the field with the lead. Is that right? Definitely the one that changed the postseason playoff rules.
The second year, when the Chiefs won in overtime, he left the game with a lead, 3-point lead. That one I won't fault him for. But the 2 years after that, the one in Buffalo, if we forget, people talk about the missed kick. He missed the 3rd and 9 when Stephon Diggs was wide open across the middle of the field, didn't throw it to him. Last year, it was like the perfect script for Josh Allen. The Chiefs were winning. Luckily, they were winning all these games by, a crazy play or two.
I mean, Josh Allen played good enough to win that game.
But the final drive of the game, 3:37 left on the clock, 3 timeouts, the chance to go change his legacy. Mahomes, they got off the field and forced him to a field goal, and he had a 12-yard rush, incomplete pass, 5-yard completion, incomplete pass. So it's hard for me to sit here and go, Josh Allen's completely innocent in this whole thing. Do I think he's totally to blame? No, I think Sean McDermott has faltered him in some of the biggest games of his career, as well as his defense. But it is funny how we might look at Lamar Jackson, we might look at Josh Allen, some of these great quarterbacks, and go, they were never able to achieve the pinnacle because they just couldn't get it done in the postseason.
The good news is I still think we have at least 7 or 8 years left of Josh Allen playing at a really high level to see if he can go win a Super Bowl. And I think he's a quarterback who will get there. All right, Steve Hartman coming up next for his weekly appointment. Can't wait for it.
I wonder what he thinks about that.
Steve, he's probably going to say something like the Chiefs get lucky or get extra playoff calls from the officiating crew, which is absolutely a fact. And that Josh Allen's going to win a Super Bowl here soon. It's San Diego Sports 760. Hartman next, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This sport is sponsored by the West Automotive Group. SDFC, first playoff game ever for the franchise, getting going on Sunday at 6:30. You can hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. SDFC is currently a -160 favorite to win game one. And the Lakers, you can also hear that game tonight. Timberwolves in LA taking on Luka and the Lakers. You can hear that on 760 at 7 o'clock. Minnesota is currently a -1.5 road favorite with the point total set at 225.5. Car servicing shouldn't be left to chance. It should be left to the experts. At West Automotive Group, their certified technicians will offer you prompt service at a fair price, keeping you safe. Receive a free 40-point inspection with any other service if you book now at westautomotivegroup.com.
San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. John and Jim will take over then.
You don't like David Lee Roth?
Just unexpected.
Ain't got nobody.
We got somebody. His name is Steve Hartman, and he's a legend in the industry. One of the greatest to ever do it, if I may say so myself. Southern California Broadcasting
Agreed.
Hall of Famer. Steve Hartman joining us today. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Fletch, I get on the phone with Sammy, and boy, there's a skip in his step. When you dominate a dominant team like the Raiders, you start feeling pretty good about yourself. Oh, that's right. The Raiders suck. And Pete Carroll was a lousy hire, and Chip Kelly was a worse hire as offensive coordinator, and Geno Smith should be in a retirement home. But that's okay. If you're a Chiefs myopic fan, you look at wins like that and you see a lot more than it actually is.
So what would you say to your Denver Broncos that had to come back on the Giants down 19 points?
Well, again, look at that comeback. I mean, that is one of the most insane comebacks in the history of the NFL. And it wasn't just one comeback. It was two comebacks. So it shows the resilience of the obvious AFC West favored Denver Broncos. And that win, as they overcame so many obstacles to come away with the W, will be one closer step all the way to the AFC Championship. And that's as far as I have them, but definitely onto the AFC West crown.
Sure. Steve, I actually found myself thinking about this, and it's dangerous when I start thinking, but watching that Chiefs-Raiders game, in the middle of that game, it popped into my head, what if John Gruden never got let go by the Raiders? Where would they be right now? And would they be going in a better direction than they are currently? And look, there was lots of reasons for John Gruden getting let go. I think there's a lawsuit happening right now where we might find out a lot more about it. But what if John Gruden stayed the course and got to build that thing his way? Do you think they would be a team that's regularly in playoff contention?
Again, it comes down to quarterback play, guys. I mean, when he was coaching, they had an established quarterback. And then he was gone. And now they're trying to replace that quarterback. I don't care who the coach is. If you don't have competent play at the quarterback position, you're not going to win anything. So could they have been better? You remember the year that he was canned, they ended up in the playoffs anyway that year. Then they made a change of coach. That was a freaking disaster. It's been a disaster ever since. Look, when you talk about failed franchises, it goes at the top. And even though I consider Mark Davis a friend, he's incompetent as an owner. He's competent in the sense that he has made money as the owner of the Raiders, but he's incompetent and obviously putting together a truly playoff competitive team. And the Raiders are the furthest thing from that.
Steve, I do have to give you credit. You did say the Broncos would be good. You did say the Dallas Cowboys would be good. They match up this weekend. Who are you giving the edge to in that game?
Well, if the Broncos are going to continue to do well, they got to get more consistent play out of Bo Nix. I mean, he made some big plays, obviously, late in that game to drive him back, but he's been inconsistent all season long. Dak Prescott is putting together a year. And I said this before, the fate of the Cowboys in 2025 is much more determined by the return of Dak Prescott than the loss of Micah Parsons. I don't think, that was going to have that much of an effect. I mean, but you get your starting quarterback back, a guy who, by the way, was runner-up for MVP a couple of years ago. That should make a difference. But, I'm riding with the Broncos right now.
So I'm going to stay with the Broncos. I'm not going to be one of these bandwagon guys going up and down. I will stay with the Broncos.
Steve Hartman joining us like he does every Friday at 1:30. Steve, I don't know if you're up to date, but this NBA story is kind of nuts. Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier. Is it Damon Jones with the Lakers? Yeah, Damon Jones. I was wondering what you thought about this whole thing. And is this the tip of the iceberg? Are we going to uncover a lot more? Is the NBA in some actual trouble here? With Brian Windhorst report that they've been covering some of this stuff up. What do you think about all this?
Fletch, here's the deal. And we've talked about this in the past. Of all the sports out there, there's no more fixable game than basketball. It's so fixable because if it has an off shooting night, okay, and had an off shooting night, or was it intentional? If they have a few extra fouls, half the fouls that we see in the NBA, like, is that really a foul? How do you really figure it out? That's what happened with Tim Donaghy. I mean, Tim Donaghy was doing this for 2 years. If the NBA had been paying attention, remember, they didn't uncover the Tim Donaghy situation. It had to do with an outside investigation where they found out about Tim Donaghy, and he was calling a lot of fouls. He was placing major bets on over-unders in games and be able to control the score of the games. One player can absolutely change the outcome of basketball games. You go back to the 50s, the 60s, every single decade has had a gambling scandal either in the college game or in the pro game, and it's happened every single decade. So this is nothing new. How deep does this go? I mean, again, when we're talking about all these sports now, remember, they would sort of shy away, more than shy away. They would absolutely repulse any idea of getting in bed with these gambling establishments until sports betting was legalized in the entire United States. Once that opened that window and they showed the billions of dollars that could be funneled into these sports franchises by cozying up to these gambling establishments, they took the money. And this was inevitable. I think that this scandal, we're just scratching the surface. And there's going to be more players implemented. They've been searching about this for years now, and they're just beginning to take root. So absolutely, the integrity, if there isn't any integrity in professional sports these days, but the integrity of the game is definitely in jeopardy.
Steve, looking at the World Series tonight, Dodgers instilled it more than a 2-1 favorite. What do you see the chances of the Blue Jays pulling the upset?
Zero. And the reason I say zero is, look, if you had one hot pitcher or two hot pitchers, maybe. The Dodgers have 4 hot starting pitchers right now. I mean, they have 4 red hot starting pitchers. And the reason they have red hot starting pitchers is that 3 of them, when you talk about Snell and Glasnow and Ohtani, they barely pitched during the regular season. None of them even had 100 innings. So they're like in mid-season form right now. The only starter they had all season long was Yamamoto, and we saw what he did in his last outing. So there's no break for the Blue Jays. If the starting pitchers for the Dodgers can go 7 innings, and by all indications, there's no reason they can't. They just had a whole week off again, so they're all well rested. The fact that the Dodger bullpen is as shaky as it is not going to be a factor in the series. I will say this, though. The Blue Jays do have players that can go deep, and obviously Guerrero's on fire. Springer obviously is also like a Hall of Famer when it comes to October baseball. Are you sure he's not cheating like he did back in the Houston days?
Hopefully he is.
I just don't see how it's possible. I guess anything is possible, but remember this. This is the 3rd straight series that the Dodgers have opened up on the road, and in the previous 2 series, they won both games on the road to open up the series. They've only lost 1 postseason game, so I just can't see how any team is going to beat the Dodgers this year.
When Steve Hartman says something like that, it's time to put money on the opposite way, because Steve does not work in guarantees, and he just said 0% chance. So I'm throwing some money on the Blue Jays.
0% chance. I can take that. In fact, let me make a boast right now. I will guarantee the Kansas City Chiefs will rebound and win the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, I love it.
There.
I love it, Steve.
Chiefs,
Oh, no.
I guarantee the Chiefs will win the Super Bowl. I won from their yesterday's news. Of course, technically they're still an 8 seed, but I guarantee, Sam, this is for you, guarantee that the Chiefs will win the Super Bowl this year.
I believe we call that the Cannon curse. Steve, we got to be quick here, but before we let you go, Albert Pujols interviewing to be the Padres' next manager. What do you think about Pujols potentially taking the place of Mike Shildt?
Well, if he could supply the same juice that he was taking when he was a St. Louis Cardinal back in the day to all the players, I think it's a great idea. I don't know why so many people are enamored with Albert Pujols as a manager. Most great players do not make great managers. And there's a reason for that. Because when you're a great player, you see one game and the normal mortal players see another game. And it's hard to translate it to players that don't see what you see as a superstar player. So I have no idea why the Padres would be enamored. There's a guy named Bruce Bochy. I'm sorry. Is there not a guy named Bruce Bochy available to be the manager of the Padres? Don't be stupid. Bring in a guy that actually knows how to navigate the postseason, because that's what it's all about for the Padres right now. A guy who took 4 teams to a world championship, none of which were favored to win the World Series the year they won it. So that's the guy that you would obviously hire as your next manager. But I'm sure A.J. Preller, who's hired, 50 managers, that stupid idiot. Look at Preller. I don't know how this guy still has a job. How does he have a job? Get him out. Get a competent person in there. If you look at his pluses and minuses, the minuses outweigh the pluses like 10-1. Bring in Bruce Bochy. Forget the Albert Pujols hire. That would be a ridiculously bad hire for the Padres.
I mean, if I'm Bruce Bochy, I don't know that I want the Padres job, Steve. I think that might be part of this. He may not want to work with AJ. He may not want to work with the clubhouse, and it seems like nobody else does either. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Thank you, Steve.
Guys, always a pleasure. Have a great week. Enjoy the series.
Steve Hartman never disappoints. That's one thing we know about Steve Hartman. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate you. Every week, 1:30, you hear from Steve Hartman here on this show. Today, he was red hot. All right, coming up next, we're going to close this thing out. We got some breaking news that Sammy and I are stoked about, beyond belief, in fact. And I think Sammy and I have something coming up that we're going to be attending together, maybe the premiere of. That's next. San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Busy weekend of play-by-play here on San Diego Sports 760. Coming up tonight, Lakers right here on this station. 7 o'clock tip-off, Sammy?
7 o'clock playing the T-Wolves.
T-Wolves, Lakers, Ant-Man. No LeBron, but Luka. What was it? Ant-Man, Batman, Superman, Lakers in 5?
Yeah, Ant-Man did have the last word last year.
Yeah, he did. Then Saturday, San Diego State, Fresno State, prime time, baby, 12:30. College football does not get better than that. JR and I will be on the air starting at 10:30 on Saturday, getting you ready for kickoff between the Aztecs and the Bulldogs. And then on Sunday, SDFC, first ever postseason game. You're going to hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760.
We got a big weekend.
Kickoff at 6:30 on Sunday. Hopefully lots of you are going to that match. Can't wait for it. It's
we
going
could
to
be
be
sitting here on Monday talking about the Aztecs, another road on the step to potential showdown.
How about potentially ranked in the top 25?
Potentially ranked in the top 25, something that, let's just all be honest, seemed unfathomable last year, and they are on the verge of doing. SDFC, first playoff win in franchise history would be massive. So big weekend here in San Diego. A lot going on.
And the Lakers involved in a gambling scandal. Craziness.
We don't need to worry about that. Whatever Damon Bruce did, he's off the team.
Have you seen some of the videos, by the way, that people are now online speculating about different players at different times getting signals from the stands? Like there's a video of a guy in the front row of one of the stands tapping his hat like this towards Kevin Durant, and KD looking back at him and shaking his head. Like, no, I can't do it.
Did you see the Terry Rozier clip where he literally
the
game where he clearly purposely lost the ball?
Yep. And then played like soft defense on the guy coming down the other side of the court. It's wild how obvious some of it is. We're going to find out so much more about the NBA over the next few weeks, I'm sure. And we'll see if the FBI is involved with any more of it. Right now, it feels like fans of the NBA are crowdsourcing together to find different moments where players are making obvious decisions. All right, before we get out of here today, we did not do a second long shots lineup. I will have one Sunday morning on my Instagram story at Fletch Sports that you can follow along with. Steve Hartman took up too much time. Shocker. When has that ever happened in the history of radio?
Strong comments by AJ Preller.
God, I was Steve's producer for 2.5 years. I think that's about right. Like 2.5 years. I don't think we ever got out of a segment on time. Not once in the 2.5 years. All right. Before we get out of here, breaking news. We mentioned it. Sammy, just tell the people. It brings a tear to my eye. It really does.
Are we talking about the food?
No, the movie.
Oh, Wedding Crashers for the 20th anniversary will be back in theaters December 4th and December 11th.
Oh my God.
Fletch and I will be buying tickets here today.
Hell, if there's 5 listeners that want to come, I'll buy your tickets too.
Seriously, Wedding Crashers. We need to take a group. Wedding Crashers in the movie theater. I did not get to see this in movie theaters.
Me neither.
One of, if not the greatest movie of all time. Fantastic.
I would say Wedding Crashers might be one of those movies that I've seen more than any other movie. There's a few. It's like the original Pirates of the Caribbean, Step Brothers, Superbad, and Wedding Crashers. I think are probably all tied at the top.
Wedding Crashers is like prime midday Saturday viewing.
Yes, that's exactly right. The non-college football season, prime
Stage
Saturday
5
midday.
clinger.
Yeah, man, you motorboating son of a, you sailor, you. Oh my God,
where is she? Is she still in the house?
I will like Bradley Cooper's had a lot of great roles. I don't know that he's ever had one better.
Do you know, real quick, that's how he got The Hangover?
Yeah.
Is because they saw him in that movie play such a douche that they're like, he could be great in the Hangover as Phil.
You know who the final 2 were for his role in Wedding Crashers?
Who?
It was him and Dax Shepard.
Really?
And Dax Shepard, he's gone out publicly and said, if I was Bradley Cooper's character in Wedding Crashers would not have been as successful.
That's so awesome. That's
he's like,
fantastic.
It's a perfect movie, and Bradley Cooper is perfect in that role. If it was me, I would have messed it up. All right, and then the second piece of breaking news, Panda Express, I guess up in Pasadena. Now, Sammy, you used to live up in Pasadena.
I used to live in South Pass, yeah.
Is this a real place, the Panda Express Innovation Kitchen?
Yes.
They're releasing a Panda Express burrito. Can I get this now? I want it right now.
What's in the burrito? Is it Chinese food?
Chow mein, fried rice, and orange chicken wrapped in a tortilla with like some spicy mayo or something on it. Okay, I'm so in.
Now that I heard it, I don't know if I would try it, but I feel like I'd rather just have chow mein, orange chicken, and fried rice.
Yeah, but wrap all that up in a tortilla with some spicy sauce on it. I am so beyond it. I want that right this second.
Panda Express sounds good right now.
It sounds so good right now. I might have to talk to Kendall about that for tonight. All right, good week, everybody. Let's see. Let's pick one game, Sammy. You want to make a quick pick on? Then we got to get out for John and Jim.
I think the Cowboys are pulling the upset on the road in Denver. Offense goes crazy.
All right, and are we locking in Atlanta for Circa?
I think Atlanta is.
Is there room for a little more conversation about the Bucs between now and Sunday?
I just think there's other opportunities to use the bus.
I think you're right. I'm leaning Atlanta, but we'll see. All right, John and Jim are next. We're out of here. We'll see you all tomorrow. I will be on the air at 10:30 with J.R. Tolver getting you ready for Aztecs Fresno State. So tune in then. See ya.